Hello, welcome to my channel and thank you for joining me today. So I got this lovely surprise that arrived just yesterday, I think it was. Little Secrets from My Fairy House by Klara Markova, her new book. I want to thank Wendy from Wendy's Colouring, first of all, for me being able to get this, because I was watching her lovely flip through video, and my husband was lurking on the sofa while I was watching that, and I did not realize, but he was actually listening in on what Wendy was saying, and he went ahead and got this for me. It was my birthday in November. We don't usually do big gifts or any gifts really these days. We just sort of celebrate our birthday in by going out, spending time together, spending time with family. So I was away from home for my birthday actually, and I think he just felt like he wanted to get me something, so it was very nice of him. I did not expect it, and that's always the best kind of surprises. But anyways, so I thought I'd do a quick flip through and then just discuss with you guys what my thoughts are on this book. For those of you who know Klara Markova's books, they are exactly the same as all her other books. So beautiful binding. The colour for this book is absolutely stunning. I love the brightness of this cover. It is hardback, and yeah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, so you can obviously see that there is gold foiling on the title and on some of the detailing. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it does glow in the dark or under UV light or something like that. I've never tested that, but I think Fairy Touch of Magic, so the book before this and this one, the covers do that. And that's the back cover. I'm not going to read all that. But yeah, so that's her latest book. For those of you who don't have a Klara Markova book yet, with regards to size of the book, I don't have, normally people compare their books to a Johanna Basford book, because that's the most common book people have. I don't own any Johanna Basford books, so I'm going to assume that a lot of people do have Creative Havens. So if you look at that in size with that, so it is a bit shorter, tiny bit wider, yeah, a lot thicker, but that's a given. And yeah, so that's sort of the sizing. I would say sort of the size of like a Hannah Carlson, her older series of books. So yeah, I'll do a quick flip through. I won't talk about every page. I think you should go and check out Wendy's flip through. It's a very fun flip through. I loved her chatting through every page. So if you do want to have a bit more detail about the pages, then please check out her channel, and I'll link her. I'm sure you guys have already come across her channel, but I'll link her channel in the description box below. But I'll do a quick flip through to some music, so you can just have a look at what the pages look like, and then I'll give you my thoughts on the book. absolutely love the book. I think as all her other books, the quality of the book is really, really nice. I love that it's hardback. I love the binding. It is stitch bound, so that's really good. And the main thing is that, yes, the art style is exactly what we expect from Klara Markova. Her perfectly innocent, happy, funny illustrations. So she's stuck to her usual style, which is amazing. I love the illustrations. I love that they're busy pages. I know this is not for everyone. Everyone has a different taste for, you know, what they like to color. I, for some reason, really love coloring Klara Markova's illustrations. I just find it so happy. I don't know why, but it's just such a joy coloring her illustrations. I think it's a combination of the quality of her books, the illustrations themselves, and yeah, so I really do like her art style. The paper is, I know there was some publishing issues apparently, and that's why the book got a bit delayed, but they do say on Etsy and even on her Facebook post, I think I'd read somewhere, I think it was a Facebook post, where she said that the quality of the books, the paper, is exactly the same as every book, other than it being an ecological paper that they've tried to use. And I think the thickness of the paper is very similar, and the only thing I can possibly feel is that it feels a little bit smoother. I was trying to test it with one of the other books, and it does feel a little bit smoother than the book I was checking. Which book was it? I had out Fairy Celebrations. I had out, and it just felt a tiny bit smoother than that. So I do need to try out a little bit of coloring to see how I feel about the paper, but to me it feels like really good quality. And it did mention, I think, again, it must have been Instagram actually, where she said that because of the ecological paper that they've tried to use, that there might be some minor defects or something that you might notice. I haven't noticed anything. I love that she always puts in, like, you know, the number 6 for her 6th book, and I think there was another illustration where there's a book itself and there's the number 6 in Roman numerals somewhere. But anyways, I digress. But yeah, I think it's a really nice book. Now, I know it's not for everyone's art style. Not everyone likes this sort of style. Not everyone has this budget to have. I find that, yes, they are pricey books. I think Klara Markova's books are probably the only pricey books I have in my collection. However, I find that the way from the illustrations to the actual binding of the book, the quality of the book, to the care that they take in packaging, delivery, their customer service, all of that, I think the price of the book is worth every penny, in my opinion, for me. I would rather have this one book than, you know, an equivalent for the cost would maybe be like 8 to 10 Amazon paper books, because I know that when I color in this book, I get so much joy from coloring in it, and I enjoy the process of the coloring. I've never colored a page in a Klara Markova book and been like, oh, I hated every minute, or I struggled with the paper, or, you know. So I think that the price of the book is worth every penny. What I do not like is the fact that we have to pay for the delivery, but there's not much we can do about that, is there? Like, any book that you're going to get, for example, from Etsy or directly from an illustrator, is always going to come with a price for delivery. So it's not only Klara Markova's books. And so, yeah, you just have to be prepared that you will be paying for shipping. But it came in brilliant condition, and maybe I'll try and put some pictures of how it was wrapped up, so that from the side of Klara Markova or her company, they don't leave any stone unturned in making sure that you get a good quality book in a good condition. Now, yes, if you get a grumpy delivery man, that's not their fault, but I think they do try and wrap it up really nicely to prevent any damage en route. The other thing I really like about Klara Markova's books is that, yes, they are one-sided, so you can use any colouring mediums that you'd like, and you're not worried about really damaging the other side. There are these illustrations, which I tend to like colouring, so I don't use something, I try and avoid anything that will just bleed through the paper, because I like to colour these small illustrations. And I think that I have a lot of respect that Klara Markova puts these illustrations there, because in my opinion, this illustration, okay, Klara Markova's postcards are a little bit bigger, but you know, if you're into coloring postcards, they might be a little bit smaller than this usually. And I would say the coloring time of these illustrations on the back of each page is probably the coloring time you would get from a postcard. So you're effectively getting a full page of coloring plus some additional postcard size areas to color. So I think that's brilliant. I know it's a bit repetitive in that every other picture is the same, but then it changes as we go through the book. So say, for example, here we get a couple of other different illustrations for the water themed pages. She gives a different illustration on that side. And I think and then there's a couple more. There we go. So it's not like exactly the same illustration throughout on the flip side of each page, and I think it just adds to your coloring time. That is definitely the amount of, the sort of a size of a postcard or detail that you would get in a postcard. So you're effectively getting a book plus a few postcards in the book to color as you go along. So I think I really like the idea that she has that. Now, of course, it's again a personal view. Some people like to use alcohol markers and don't mind, sacrificing these little illustrations. I love these little illustrations because I use them for mindless coloring sometimes. It's a short, quick burst of coloring that I get, and I just respect that they've added so much coloring time in these books, and that's the reason, along with the quality of the books, I say that yes, the cost of the book itself is worth every penny. Delivery, I'm not so keen on, but I expect it. I think I will have to obviously test out the paper, because it's only because they've mentioned that it's different is why I'm thinking, oh, I hope it's not different with the supplies that I use, that my supplies work the same as all her other books. So I might color like that little small one to begin with, just to see how my Tombow Jewel brush pens, my Faber-Castell Albert Dürer pencils work. I don't have that many mediums that I would need to try out, but as long as those work for me, I'm fine. But if Klara Markova hadn't mentioned any of that, I wouldn't have thought any different about the paper. So yeah, that's the book for you guys. I hope you liked the flip through. I hope you guys liked the book. I don't know what you guys think about Klara Markova's style. I think everyone's very different in their choice of artwork that they like to color. What do you guys think about her art style? I absolutely love it. I love coloring her art style, and I'm always satisfied with my end results from her books. And the main thing, the process of actually coloring in these books. So yeah, I do love them. But yeah, I would like to know what you guys think. So yeah, there you go. That's the new book. I don't know when I'm going to get around to coloring it, because as you guys may have seen a couple of videos ago, I had picked out so many books that I wanted to color during the winter period. So it might be a while before I actually tackle a page in this book, but hopefully soon. I'll leave you guys for now, and I hope to see you on my next video. So until then, take care. Thank you for watching, and happy coloring. Bye-bye. Hi again, guys. I decided that I wanted to try out the paper immediately, just so that I was satisfied that the few supplies that I have work well on this paper, even though like I said, the paper feels thick. It feels like the rest of Klara Markova's books, but only because she made us aware that she's used a slightly more ecological paper this time around, I thought, let me just try out my supplies. And I am so happy with the paper. For me, I think the paper is better than the other books. For one reason mainly, and that is how the Tombow dual brush pens work on the paper. Now, if you guys have heard me mention before, with water-based markers, our colouring book paper is not marker paper, and so you can't usually blend with water-based markers on paper directly in majority of our colouring books, even if the colouring books have really good quality paper. For example, Hannah Carlson books, Maria Trolle, Klara Markova, even the Dutch editions of certain books, like I have the Tomislav Tomic Drummenbanger, brilliant paper, but you can't do perfect blends with the Tombow dual brush pens directly to the paper, either with a brush and water or with another pen itself. So it's very rare that I get paper in colouring books that I can do that with, and majority of my books that allow me to do that are Japanese edition books like Kanoka Agusa's books and Nelko Neko and some of Iwi's books. And that's it. So they're a very limited number, maybe a handful of books that I'm able to do that in. But I was so surprised that in Klara Markova's, this particular book, I've been able to do that. Now, I'm second guessing myself. I don't know if I had tested. I think I would have tested it in her other books, but I'm going to have to go back to her other books and see whether my Tombow dual brush pens blend directly to the paper to give that painterly look. So yeah, now I'm doubting myself about her other books, but I feel like I've never done that. I've never used my pens blended directly on the paper in her other books, and I think that's because I must have tested it out and it didn't work, just like other colouring books. But in this particular book, basically we're talking about this book, it works, and I was really happy with that. And it doesn't bleed through. I was doing little bits of the testing of the supplies and looking over the page to see whether it was bleeding through, and it didn't. So yeah, really happy with how the Tombow dual brush pens work on this paper. As you guys know, I use my Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer pencils as my primary pencils, and I use them wet, so activated with water, as well as dry. So I tested both ways on the paper, and I'm happy with how it works. So the pencils, I would say, work exactly the same as all of other Klara Markova books. It's just the markers that I'm going to have to test her other books. Anyways, so yeah, the pencils work really well, just like the other books. Barely any warping when I used some water to activate the pencils. I'm able to, once activated as a base, I'm able to colour over the activated pencils with dry pencils, as well as on my Tombow dual brush pens. When I base them down directly on the paper, I can colour over with the pencils really well, with many layers on it. And I can also apply the Tombow dual brush pens with a brush and water and still go over with my pencils dry. So that's all really good. I was able to get many layers when I was putting down my pencils. So for me, those were the two main supplies that I use in pretty much every colouring page I do in any artist's books. And so I wanted to make sure that they work. And then anything else is just additional for me. But one thing I did want to test was the dual hybrid Pentel Gold glitter gel pen. I just wanted to make sure that they don't bleed through the paper as well, because sometimes in certain books they do, and no, that didn't bleed through either. So yeah, I think I am definitely happy with the paper, no concerns, and actually happier with how my markers work on them. So I hope this helps you guys a little bit, and yeah, I'll definitely leave you guys now and catch you on the next video. Bye bye.